the two words that came clearest, if I had to distill all of what I've been doing, it's helping businesses find their authenticity and staying present. And the authenticity is a version of that, staying true to the mission and vision. But it's also like, is this who we say we are? Is this what we believe in, what we stand for? Can we go sleep well at night if we do this? There's tons of opportunities in business that can make things happen in a great way. But it's like, we can, but should we? So much of
Right.
technology and science, right, is like, we can, but should we?
Right. And how's this going to work? Is it going to be a good fit for us? Is this what we
Yeah.
really need?
Let's try things. I'm all for testing and measuring and trying things.
Yes.
But, so the thing that helps with that is the presence is like, are we listening to our customers? Are we listening to our competition? Are there new things we can offer? What do they actually know about us? So one of the things I end up doing most for clients, which I love, is sentiment analysis, where I find out what percentage of the conversation about you is positive, neutral, and negative, and what are the topics in each of those categories.
You're listening to Brainwork Framework, a business and marketing podcast, brought to you by focus-biz.com.
To another episode. With us today is the founder of AEM Strategies, Aaron Mandelbaum. He works with leaders and organizations to close that gap between who they say they are and how they actually operate through facilitation and challenging grounded in real-world outcomes. Aaron, so excited to have you on. How are you doing today?
I'm great. It's so good to be here. What
Absolutely. Yeah, we had such a great pre-recording chat already. I should have hit record, but for us, we like to get to know our entrepreneurs a little bit. Our first question is, tell us about your journey. What were you doing before that kind of led you into the path you're on today?
Sure. I feel like so much of where I am now, I was just thrown into. I didn't know where I was going to be born and any of that stuff. And I was born into an entrepreneurial household, into it's really like a third generation family business of retail clothing. And I had entrepreneurship around me all the time. And I just thought this is how people operate and this is how life is. And there was a spirit of like, do it, make it, go ahead and follow your passion. That was a thing I heard a lot. And like a good teenager, I was like, no, I'm not going to do this business. Blah. I want to study this and that and the other thing. I got so upset when I heard you had to only pick one major in school. Oh my God. I was like, I want to study everything. What are you talking about? So I was doing a philosophy major, which I loved. And then I graduated with a philosophy degree and, batting away job offers. I was sitting at home thinking, what am I going to do? And a lot of the other side of my family's business was real estate. They had these stores, and whenever they could buy the real estate for the store, they would buy it as a separate company. And eventually later they sold the retail business and kept the real estate portfolio. I was like, okay, I'll get into real estate and I'll think about that. I got my license to do real estate. That lasted for like a week. I ended up working for the place I was a broker for, and helping them with some of their systems. And I was the one who knew how to use Photoshop and Excel. I was like this godsend. And I was like, well, what if we did this? And what if we did that? And I was just doing all this systems optimization internally, created new flows and charts and dashboards and all this stuff, streamlined everybody's life. And because I started that job as a commission-based salesperson, and then I came in under the corporate umbrella as replacing an administrative assistant, but now I'm like pitching and doing all this stuff and working with all the executives. Their corporate structure was such that they could only give you a small percentage raise based on where you came in on. I was doing a $120,000 project management job for something like less than a third of that.
Wow.
So I applied to business school, and my thought was I wanted to work with and consult nonprofits and charities and help them be as efficient as possible, because I noticed there was people who had their mission, but they didn't have the business training. And how do we help connect those dots? So I got into business school and avoided marketing like the plague. I had no interest in marketing. Marketing to me was like, try to convince someone to buy something they don't want or they don't need. And it was slimy and sleazy and sketchy. So I just focused on business strategy, and I got out of my MBA. And so I started working in marketing. Exactly how it goes, right? Why I got into marketing at that time, though, was this was just after Facebook became available for non-university students. And what was happening was this conversation about digital marketing and what can be done. And what I realized was available was there's people out there saying, I actually want this thing, and companies saying, we have that thing. How do we connect them with each other? This seemed a little more interesting and a little less shady and a little less slimy. So I worked in for an agency for a while. Lots of really cool clients. This was like the Wild West days. This was like 10-cent Facebook ads that were like guaranteed, and we could buy them by like the 100,000 whenever we wanted. This was like installing widgets on people's profile pages and stuff, buying ads in other people's widgets, making apps, making Facebook apps, talking to people about them being influencers, and they had no idea what that meant. And we did all this influencer outreach and this digital PR to people, and they're like, "What do you mean I'm an influencer?" We're like, "How are you not getting paid for your blog?" And then helping them, so it was the Wild West. We just made things happen. We made dashboards, we made different things. And what happened then was like all these people were saying, these executives were saying they wanted certain things that didn't make a difference for their business. We need 1 million Facebook fans. I'm like, you make parts for a machine that makes parts for a machine that makes lawnmowers. I'm not following you on Facebook.
Why do you want this thing?
We were told this is what we have to do.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, we're telling them, what is your mobile strategy? I'm like, what the hell is that? And then it was like, what is your video strategy? Like, we don't need that. I'm like, everybody was looking in the wrong direction. I ended up going back to work for the family business and doing e-commerce, SEO, email marketing, version rate optimization, some of that stuff, launching a couple different businesses on the side that was like a focused search engine, a price comparison search engine site for fashion. That was great. We built it in 90 days. We built 70,000 pages in 90 days with help of the software my friend created, and we sold that pretty quick. We built the world's first flash sales site for a brick and mortar retailer, and at noon, we're going to sell this item. Come on and get it. There's only 100 pieces. And that got me speaking gigs around the world. And I was speaking for e-commerce and SEO and digital marketing and stuff like that. I'm going to just go into consulting. And 2011 was the last time I had a boss, and I've been doing my own thing since. And it's taken lots of different detours and flavors, whatever. But what's really beautiful and what's really amazing is like the through line is the same. From studying philosophy, from being in an entrepreneur house, from being business strategy and digital marketing, like so much of it is the same. Like, what I ended up, for a while, it was like I'm digitizing analog executives and helping them get on the internet. For a while, it was ensuring that people's mission and vision was aligned with their digital presence. And now it's like what I found, the two words that came clearest, if I had to distill all of what I've been doing, it's helping businesses find their authenticity and staying present. And the authenticity is a version of that, staying true to the mission and vision. But it's also like, is this who we say we are? Is this what we believe in, what we stand for? Can we sleep well at night if we do this? There's tons of opportunities in business that can make things happen in a great way. But technology and science, right, is like, we can, but should we?
Right. And how is this going to work? Is it going to be a good fit for us? Is this what we really need?
Let's try things. I'm all for testing and measuring and trying things.
Yes.
But the thing that helps with that is the presence, is like, are we listening to our customers? Are we listening to our competition? Are there new things we can offer? What do they actually know about us? So one of the things I end up doing most for clients, which I love, is sentiment analysis, where I find out what percentage of the conversation about you is positive, neutral, and negative, and what are the topics in each of those categories. For instance, one company who makes headsets, like not Apple AirPods, but for salespeople and stuff like that. And they got into the gaming space and stuff. And I was like, you're celebrating this massive milestone of how long you've been a company. Like, nobody's talking about that. Why not? What's going on there? Nobody knows these other things you do. We had a client who makes chocolate. They sell candy making kits to your house, and you get all the components to make your own candy. It's not an expensive product, but shipping is expensive because it has to be wrapped in ice, or otherwise it's a puddle. I was like, here's everybody who would be a customer if you offered free shipping. Let your CFO tell you if it's worth it. And they tested it, and sales went through the roof.
Wow.
And because the sales went through the roof, they could get better deals on their shipping, and their shipping went down. So I was like, look, this is what they're telling you. They will buy your product if you charge less for your shipping. So we created bundles. We said, okay, buy more, and then the shipping is a little bit less, right? Buy a subscription instead. Like, all these different ways to test and measure different things. And it's okay if we're wrong, because all of marketing, just like business, is like, there's current best practices, but there's no right answers. And that takes a lot of the weight off my shoulders, at least.
Right. And I feel like businesses who understand that things are an experiment. Yes, we're using best practices, but one thing that might work well for your business may not work well for another, or the industry, or based on your location, or just how you present yourself on camera. It could be all things the same, but if you present yourself differently, you connect with a
100%.
different audience, and yeah, the
Yep.
communication isn't there.
I have friends who love using Nikon cameras. I prefer Canon. I wouldn't be able to tell the difference if I looked at two. Maybe somebody can. The interface is just preferable the way like the menu system works. I love it. I won't buy a Sony TV for the same reason. The menu system is awful. And that's enough to have me buy a different model TV. And I know what that is, and I know what I'm looking for. And I'm a good enough consumer and business person where I'll leave a good review. Like, this is what I love about your product.
Yes, for the businesses that the smart businesses are going to
Yeah.
read that comment and they're going to learn
Yeah.
from that comment, because getting the
Yeah.
customer feedback is so valuable for
Yeah.
any business. Lets you know what you're doing right, what are you doing wrong. And like you
100%.
mentioned with competitor analysis, oh my goodness, that is a gold mine just waiting to be
Oh,
uncovered. You're
it's so good.
basically tapping into what things don't people like about this product, or just, this industry altogether, and you can go solve those problems.
Oh yeah. This is my $1,000 tip. So to talk about sentiment analysis, there's two versions. There's one that I was talking about, which is we don't use software or AI because we want to understand nuance, sarcasm, irony, like all these different things. Because we did a lot for movies, and people are like, I'm so glad I went to that movie. The second sentence was like, the theater was terrible. They had a bad experience in the theater, and then one line about how the movie was good. So it was a positive sentiment piece of information, but AI may not have picked it up. The other side of sentiment analysis is these large brands, not even companies, brands, have rooms manned by people 24/7 with 6 or 7 screens that are dashboards that are like, whenever somebody sends a tweet that says like, Pepsi's the devil, they'll jump on that right away and be like, oh, send us a DM and tell us how we can make your experience better. That's like crisis alert, watch out,
Right,
and like
right.
triaging in the moment stuff. But the deep $1,000 tip, if you want to know about your company or your competition, is to read 3-star reviews. The 5-star reviews, they love it. They're going to tell you all how amazing it is. The 1-star review, some of those, swear to God, I've seen some of these like, this is the worst product ever. I can't believe they make it. I've never tried it. I don't own it. I've never seen one in person, but
I know
0
it's bad.
stars. I know it's bad. Boo. Right? There's a lot of that. 3-star reviews are people who have like thought about something. They like it. They have worthwhile feedback, and they're taking the time to say it. So if it's your own product, there's some gems in there, I guarantee, that will tell you what to improve. If you're looking at your competition, those 3-star reviews are your marketing messages. So like, it was great, but it was too heavy. If you find 4 or 5 people saying like it's too heavy, your new Facebook post or Instagram post or LinkedIn post or your new billboard is finally a lightweight. It was right there. This is not rocket science. This is that presence. This is that level of paying attention and being honest with what's going on. Yeah.
Absolutely. And Aaron, where can more people find you and connect with you online?
I'm so findable. I'm just available. I love having these conversations. I love chatting. I love finding out how we can help people succeed. I have a very basic landing page, aemstrategies.com, Alpha Echo Marmaduke strategies.com. That's my website. There's some just little info about me. It's going to get redone soon, but it's and book a call with me. Send me an email. Let's chat. Let's talk, and then I can send you a link to promote to just directly book a call with me, and I'm happy to chat. I'm not a hard sales guy. I want to find something that works for everybody. I'm always looking for a way for everybody to win, for co-opetition. Like, how can we work together? So if I'm not the right person for someone, that's fine. I might have 6 book recommendations or another podcast or a workshop or a course, or do these 10 things and then call me back. If you found value, give me a tip or give me an introduction to someone else. Because helping you can turn into helping me by an introduction to a cousin or your whatever company, your brother-in-law's business. And I've worked with everything from startups to nonprofits to Fortune 50 companies, and there's room to do something. So
Honesty and integrity, that is really what it's all about. Those are the
yeah.
strategic partners you want having conversations with about your business. And Aaron, what are you looking forward to most in 2026 now? Are you kind of ramping up, launching anything new, or are you kind of sticking with the same course that's been working for you?
I'm going to redo my website has always been just a 1-page basic landing page, but I'm going to redesign that with some new language. I'm finding some new language that works. I'm doing a bit more social posting and some conversation. You can find me on LinkedIn, and jump on there, and some more outreach and looking for different types of businesses. I was sticking with the same people for a while. Like 2020 was just like, I'm going to back off and let people figure themselves out, and I'll come in where needed, and took a pause for a little while and let it marinate. And now, it's been interesting. Some of the people who are asking for support, and in different ways than ever before. Looking for partners, looking for new clients, and trying new things with just speaking a bit more freely about who I am, because I've been doing it long enough that it's like I've got a different level of confidence with it, where I can just speak a little bit louder of like, yes, I can help you. Like, just sign here because we'll make something happen.
Right, absolutely. People can't find out about us if they don't know, and we're not having those conversations in public and kind of showcasing, hey, here's who I am and what I do and how I can help you.
Yeah, exactly.
That is beautiful, Aaron. Thank you again for coming on the show. I wish we had a little more time. However, we're probably going to have another season where we can welcome you back for another episode. We chatted a lot about just business, life, assets,
Yeah.
finance. I mean, everything under the sun, which is so great. But
Yeah.
Aaron, we appreciate your time.
Always a pleasure. Can't wait for next time.
Hey, sounds great. Thank you, Aaron.
Cheers.